Hi everyone, I'm Imran. I've been an options trader for over 20 years, and to be honest, that kind of became my identity. The truth is I was also a husband, a father, a brother, a friend, many other things, but they all kind of faded into the background. In the last year, I've been through quite a journey. My marriage fell apart, one of my best friends in the whole world died, and I had to look deep inside myself to see who I had become and whether that was who I actually wanted to be. I went down the rabbit hole of identifying my childhood traumas and how they manifested in my personality and the way that I showed up in my relationships. It's all still very much a work in progress. I joke and I call this the healed trader, but at least now I catch myself and I can be more conscious and hopefully be a better dad to my kids. This podcast is my way of documenting my journey that I'm still on. I hope you can relate, and I hope something from my experience can help you along the way. Thanks. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Healed Trader. Today's episode is called Is It Worth the Stress? So last couple of episodes, we've been talking about things like, happiness, chasing the money is not going to make you happy. How do you define success? Things like that. So this kind of leads on from that discussion as to when you're doing things like chasing the money or trying to be successful, what can end up happening is that you lead a very stressful life, right? It becomes about worrying about your responsibilities, providing for your family, and the stresses that go along with that. And sometimes the kind of hours that you do, how hard you work, it just overtakes everything, right? And you can't really let go of that stress. And it's also very hard to measure the impact of that stress. And something that happened recently in my life that some of you may know about is one of my best friends passed away, and he had a heart attack out of the blue. He was a healthy looking guy. He was playing football, and we were all just stunned. It just goes to show you never really know what can happen, and taking tomorrow for granted, thinking that it's still going to be there, and just spending way too much time working is not, you're not necessarily making the best out of life if you do that. This is a discussion about kind of how do we kind of stop ourselves from falling in that trap about getting so stressed and focusing on all our responsibilities and putting our health at risk, and then what the practical things that we can do to reduce our stress levels. So what do you reckon, Dave? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think first thought around that is, unfortunately now, there's a much greater awareness of the impact of the mind on the body, like that whole connection that stress can have on your health. Like, the word disease is like dis-ease, right? It's like dis-ease in your body. And just kind of maybe an awareness of the impact of stress on your physical health. That's quite big in itself, because we know like overeating and all these things, or lack of exercise, and can have negative impacts on your health. But then people tend to forget when it comes to stress, like that. But if you have that in mind, then it's important that you actually think, right, if I'm feeling stressed, I need to do something about that. I need to act on that. I need to either find kind of coping mechanisms to deal with stress better, or even make changes to my life, or think about what's underlying that stress, what's causing that stress. But it's probably one of the most important things, like, for anyone now. And fortunately, I think businesses and people are becoming aware of that. So many absences are stress related and what have you. So I think if we can get on top of that and in front of it before it becomes too much of a problem and we blow up, then it's what we should all be trying to do.
So I remember you telling me you've been into meditation for like 15 years, right? Which is a long period of time. I've been on and off meditating probably for the last 3 to 5, but I've always found it really hard to keep up a consistent meditation practice.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to tell us a little bit how you've managed that? Like, I mean, and if you've managed that, or are you a bit like me where you dip in and out of it, or have you managed to maintain consistency?
No, I'm pretty consistent. Funny, I remember so Ray Dalio, a Bridgewater guy, obviously, runs the biggest hedge fund in the world, successful guy, very into his meditation. And someone asked him once, how often does he meditate? And he said, like on average, try and meditate 20 minutes a day. He said the only exception to that, he said, if I'm really busy and I've got lots and lots going on, he went, I'll meditate for 40 minutes a day. Right, and
I love that.
Yeah, like, and it resonates with me because once you start to meditate and you see the benefit in your life in terms of your decision making, your stress levels, all these things, then it's like you don't want to not do it. Like it becomes, and the moments in your life where it'd be easy to step away from it because like there's lots going on and I've just not got time. You actually, when you start to see the benefits of it in your life, in your everyday life, that's when you go, I need to make more time for that because all of this is becoming a bit overwhelming, or I've got big decisions to make. And the best way to make any big decision is to just silence your mind. And it's amazing what comes from that.
And how long does it take to get good at meditating? For example, we have 70,000 thoughts buzzing around in our heads every day, right? So like, I know sitting there for 5 minutes is a struggle for me, right, with the thoughts, right? And one thing that I learned was that you could have like a sort of mantra that like a sound that doesn't actually mean anything, that you can play in your head on repeat.
Yeah, this is like transcendental meditation.
Yeah, so it's just techniques. That's one approach where to distract yourself from the thoughts, you kind of home in on this sound that you're replaying in your head to get into that state. But like, did you struggle with it? Because I know I have, right? I mean, how did you get over that? Yeah,
like I'd say in some ways I still do. Like some days are easier than others. Like some days the noise is so loud in my head. It's really hard to just sort of silence it. One thing I've found that's really helpful with that is Wim Hof breathing. And if I do like 10-15 minutes of Wim Hof breathing before that, you can go on YouTube and do that.
What's that? Just deep breathing?
Yeah. It's a technique he uses where you basically do like 30 like deep breaths in, like through the stomach, almost like a way through your stomach and into the chest. And then out.
So you're inflating your stomach as you breathe in.
Yeah. When you do that after, you'll feel a little bit lightheaded, but you feel so relaxed, and all of a sudden,
and then that puts you in the state where you can do the meditation.
Yeah, to go into a meditation. There's a lot of health benefits from that as well, by the way. Like
I might have to check that out
on the breathing itself. So that's been a technique I've used, but otherwise it's like exercising a muscle, Imran. It's like how long does it take to get bulked up down the gym, or you just? I don't know.
I'm still trying to figure that
out. But I think you just got to keep doing it. And the one thing, and actually it's funny because, when I think of someone like myself and you, like people who worked in finance, generally very competitive and ambitious, you start doing like meditation with, right, I want to get good at this. I'm got a quiet thing, and everything around it is about letting go and just to it. And
you're sitting there meditating, going, why can't I get this?
Yeah.
And
it's kind of relaxing. I'm just gonna let it go, and like you will sort of catch yourself like there'll be times, and actually it's really interesting how you'll see how the mind and how out of control your mind is throughout the day. So I might be sat there meditating and I'll be in a really calm place, and then it's almost like a thought bubble pops in my head where it'll be, I know, like you got to put out the bins today before work. Right, it's like that's the first thought bubble, just randomly.
And then that path begins.
And it's work. Oh, work. Don't forget you got to send that email. And don't forget you got that mate. Boom, 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 boom. And before you know it, you're no longer present. You're off on this, and you're being controlled by that. But instead of getting annoyed by it and frustrated by it, it's just about once you catch yourself doing it, go.
You just
right,
go back.
Let it go. Let me come. And that's, I mean, like breathing is an anchor, right? To just I'm just gonna focus on my breathing again, and because when you're focusing on your breathing, you can't think about all those other things. So just like how it feels in and out, and again, gradually you just like it all falls away, and then you're back to that space. And I can't speak highly enough about how just not thinking. Like, for even if you can get it for a minute, like is just
another activity. What about just general mindful activities rather than meditation? What if, like, for example, I've recently started praying because I'm doing Ramadan, and I mean, my mum does it 5 times a day, right? And she has done for years. And for her, that's her form of meditation.
Yeah.
Right. So whilst it's not actually meditation because she's doing the prayers, it's just this mindful activity and it's repetitive activity. And it kind of takes her away from all the other stresses of the world and her life. So do you think there's as much benefit for doing those sort of things as there is for meditation?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think anything that can focus the mind, and stop these thousands of thoughts that are kind of just running like monkey mind, running uncontrollably around your mind is good. Like for some people, like it's art, and just sitting there, when you're just lost in that and time stops, and that's when by the way you're getting good at meditation, because all of a sudden you'll do like an hour meditation, and by the way I'll do like 20 minutes, half an hour most days. Other days I'll do an hour, and sometimes I forget to set my alarm on it. I'll run into an hour and it's felt like 5 minutes.
Don't the kids come and disturb you when you're doing an hour?
That's why I get up early to do it.
So you do it early in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's all this particularly obviously meditation that's big in the East and stuff, and a lot about, getting up at 5 o'clock because that's when the sun rises and all this stuff. I think people do it just because it's when the kids are asleep.
Yeah. That's the real reason. It's got nothing to do with the sun. It's all to do with the kids.
But yeah, like I think anything that you can do that can just give you that moment where you're engaged in the moment and you're not got 100 thoughts like running around your head. Like for me, even running's like I find running very meditative.
Yeah, I think exercise is a huge one, right? Yeah. It's a release of endorphins.
Release of endorphins, so you feel good. But I actually, again, when you're running, it's hard not to focus on your breathing. Like, I mean, I don't know
do it well.
Yeah, like if you've ever run on a treadmill, if your mind starts to wander, sometimes you nearly come off the treadmill, and then you have, oh God, like get back to where you're at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think anything like that, and I think I say to people who start meditating, don't put too much pressure on it. Like just enjoy a moment, like to yourself of like, be it start off for 10 minutes, what have you. And if your mind starts to wander and you drifted, like go, right, we do it again tomorrow. And then you just keep getting back on the horse. And eventually you'll start going longer periods where you are just silent, focus on your breathing or focus on nothing. So just keep doing that, and you'll start to see the benefits. Once you start to see the benefit, like in your life, in terms of just I think you start to feel happier. You start to feel like, I think you become more productive. You start to have more intuitive ideas around, like, when you've got decisions to make, you start making better decisions. Once you start to see the benefits of it as well, then it doesn't become like, because at first it's easy to go, I'm just wasting, I've got so much to do, I'm wasting my time sat here.
Yeah, well, this is the point, right? So I've got so much to do. Like, we have full calendars and we block out our calendars and it's all work related, right? But we need to rebalance that and have some time for things that are going to reduce stress rather than just add to our stresses. Yeah. So, for example, playing, right? Just whether it's playing with your kids, whether it's doing something that you enjoy, like, some playing the drums, playing an instrument, whatever the hell it is. I think allocating some part of your week to play that has no achievement attached to it, it is purely for you to do something enjoyable, right? And that in itself will be de-stressing, right?
Joe, I think Tony Robbins, I heard him say once, like, everyone should spend 20 minutes a day, like meditating or doing something like for themselves. And he's like, if you've not got 20 minutes, just 20 minutes a day, like, you have no life. And I actually think anyone who's listening to this now who goes, I've not got that time, I've not got 20 minutes in my day, like, you really need to think about it. You need to step back and go, my life's out of control, because it is out of control.
Totally.
And you know, whatever job you're doing, however important you think you are, like, it's not that important. Like, it's not that important that you can't in your life give yourself 20 minutes a day at least, at minimum, to go, this is just for me, just to get back in touch with myself, and just feel good about for 20 minutes. Everyone's got that. Everyone's got that. And you make time if you haven't got it.
What about laughter? I think laughter's a good one as well, right? Like finding, like, literally being intentional about laughter, right?
Yeah.
So I don't remember when it was, but many years ago, I heard that the body can't tell the difference whether or not it's genuine laughter or if it's fake laughter.
Yeah.
Right. So you can just fake laugh and there will be health benefits to that, right? Now, I prefer to laugh genuinely, like watch some comedy or something. Like I think watching something funny before going to bed is quite a nice habit.
Yeah.
And it's something I try to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, have some laughter before bedtime, I call it.
I think though, like anything that raises your vibration, right, is like really good. So, like, it could be music or whatever it is. And to say again, you make better decisions when you're in that high vibration state, when you're feeling good. It's like the worst thing to do is be making decisions when you just feel low and beaten down. Like, go take a walk or something, go put on some music and just raise your vibration, and then you'll sort of make better decisions.
Yeah, because you need that mental clarity, basically, which you won't have when you're in a stressed fight or flight sort of state, right?
Yeah, and like, you know, like laughing and stuff like that, it's, again, when you're laughing, you're just lost in the moment, right? You're just engaged in that moment. When something's making you laugh, it's impossible to be like really laughing about something and at the same time you're going, oh, I've got this deadline coming up for work and stuff like that. You know, you can't, you're just lost in that moment, and it's just being in the moment for the moment's sake. Like, that's a beautiful thing about laughing. I always love that when you see, you know, I watch lots of football and into my football. You know, when you see, a group of people go and watch a football game and a goal gets scored, like that, just pure joy in the moment. That's like, you know, nothing matters in that moment. Whatever their stress is at home, what have you, all get lost in that moment, and that's probably more beneficial for people than they can. Like,
it's
realize.
true, actually, because I used to be into football as a kid, but then I got bored of it when I turned 18, and nowadays I don't really care. But yeah, it's true that I laugh when people get that into a game and they're that bothered. But you're right, there's actually health benefits to having that reaction and that celebration. Never really thought about those benefits, actually.
Yeah, no, it's big. I mean, the other thing as well, when I think about stress, and this sounds like quite morbid thing to say, but like, the one thing that when I'm really stressed about anything is I always think that I'm going to be dead one day. And it sounds like really morbid, but it's actually in the thinking and knowing and acknowledging that I am going to die one day. In that instant, you kind of go, well, nothing really matters in a way, because there's going to come a moment when none of this matters in a way. And all these things that we put so much stress on, like, at some point, none of it's going to matter. Like, and so, you know, just being in the moment, enjoying what you're doing, you know, even stressful situations, trying to treat as it's just a challenge, just another challenge.
But it's funny. I saw a mother in the train today, and she was chasing her son down the train and getting all stressed out with him and stuff. And she was apologizing to me because he came near me. And I was like, don't worry, I totally get it. And then once she sat down and calmed down, I said to her, you know what? I've got kids as well, and of course they stress us all out. That's what kids are meant to stress us out. That's what they do. But like, someone said to me that whenever you're stressed out in the moment with your kids, if you pretend you're on your deathbed and you were given the chance to go back in time and relive the experience that you're having right now with your kids, right? You take that every day of the week, right? And if you look at it from that perspective, then you realize, yes, they're bloody annoying. Yes, they're stressing me out. But the fact that I'm with them, this is a passing moment in time. This is not going to last forever. So thinking about it, zooming out from the stress of the moment and realizing where you are in your life, and you're going to cherish these memories when you look back as an old person, if you make it that far, kind of take some of those stresses away, right? Yeah,
and then like 100% agree. And then I think the other things in your life that are giving you stress, again, usually like some kind of challenge. And then I think it's trying to be quite objective about it and being like, okay, what do I get out of this situation? Like what's the lesson, or what's the opportunity within this situation? And I say all this stuff, Imran, like it's difficult. Like it's difficult to kind
practice
of
it.
Yeah, to practice
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
I do think you have to. And I have my moments, like
We all do.
You know, where you kind of blow up and you get lost in it. But you have to catch yourself as often as you can.
Exactly.
And go, right, I need to redress that balance a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think where stress and stress as well can be useful as well. There's, you know, like you actually at times I think it helps focus you. The problem is we like stress actually, you know, in terms of our evolution was designed, you know, to help us avert danger and all that stuff. So stressful moments is actually good for us.
Yeah, it's this chronic stress.
Yeah, it pumps the adrenaline. It helps us focus. So it's actually very, very good for you. But it's better for you when the stress is protecting you from, you know, a dangerous predator around the corner. Because then you don't want to think. You don't want to be sat there thinking like creatively about life. You know, it's just get up and get out there.
Yeah.
Or do what you need to do. So stress was made to kind of constrict us, if you like, and just focus intently in a moment. But what that actually does is, again, it draws away from your like broader perspective and your creativity. So if you're living constantly in stress, and this is why, if you can deal with that and learn to kind of let that stress go, if you're living constantly in stress, you're restricting your perspective, and your ability to be creative, because stress isn't designed to make you creative and sit there and
It's
have
to
these
survive.
intuitive.
It's designed to help you survive. Yeah.
So you're going to be on this treadmill of survival, and you're not going to produce your best, right? And be it for your family, be it for your employer, you know, be it for your business, whatever it is, when you're in that stress mode, you're very restricted in terms of your perspective and your ability, your creative ability. And we've spoken a lot about expressing your creativity and potential. You're not doing any of that when you're stressed, right? So again, why should you spend time meditating and dealing with stress? Because you want to be able to, you know, to be as good as you can, be it as a father, be it as a you know, within your business, what have you. So I kind of think there's that element to it. And the problem you've got, like if you take an athlete, like it's actually quite good to have these spikes in stress, and then you come down. If you take an athlete, right, they kind of build up to say a footballer, they build up to a big game, and then in the moment of the game, it's peak stress, right? For 90 minutes, they're at peak stress, and then what do they do after? They warm down, right? And they have the warm down, and everything comes back down, and then they start maybe building up to the next game. Unfortunately, again, because we don't, in our day-to-day lives, we don't see the build-up of stress. A lot of us are living at this peak stress level, right, constantly, and we never have the come down to it. So we're at this, we've built the stress up, and we live at that peak stress, and it just destroys the body, and it's like it will make you sick, and it doesn't allow you to be as productive as you can be.
The point is, it's like, if you take life for granted and you take your body for granted and you live in that way, the chances are you're doing it because you're motivated to achieve, or you think it's for the greater good in the future, because you're striving towards a certain type of future that you're working really hard to achieve. But what you're doing is you're undermining that future, because you might not have that future, because you might kill yourself, right? So that's the paradox that people need to realize. And I think the blueprint, or the kind of framework that people should think about, is like, maybe an hour of your day every day, and maybe you split that hour over 3 chunks: a 20-minute meditation in the morning, some form of play in the middle of the day, and then maybe before you go to bed, some kind of laughter, something that's funny, that's going to de-stress you. If you split it into like 3 times 20 minutes over a day, how hard is that, right? Like I say, everyone should be able to find that in time in their lives. And the benefits, the health benefits they'll get from that, I think would be immense, right? And it's not like I do it. I probably do it a few times a week. I don't do it every day, but that would be probably my goal to get there.
Yeah, and I'm saying, if you can frame it and particularly for anyone listening who's running businesses, got, you know, stressful lives, if you can frame it in, this is going to help me, you know, be more productive to achieve my goals. You know, that's ultimately what it will help you do. And B, look, at some point, something gives at some point. And you know, so sad to hear about your friend, but like that's the kind of warning. And you know, sometimes it's in our lives when we see that around us that's what wakes us up. But I kind of, my message to people when I speak to about this stuff is, you know, don't wait for that moment, don't wait for the crash, like, for it to wake you up and snap you out of, you know, that kind of being unconscious in how you're going about your life. Start implementing these things now, and you'll feel happier, you'll be more productive, and you'll just live a more fulfilled life, which is kind of what we're all trying to go for, I guess.
100%, man. All right, I think we'll wrap it up there. Hopefully this helped you, and you know, we'd like to know, you know, what are your stresses, what stresses you out, and what do you do to help relieve that stress? Are there any other things that we haven't mentioned that maybe you find particularly useful? We'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching.